Good morning. My name is Katinka. I'm the seamstress at the cottage and welcome back. Today, I'm going to chat about the things that make your made garments and even the bought garments look better. Now, this is something that we often forget. Underwear is one of those things that when you have the right ones on, your clothes that goes over it looks so much better. So, a lot of people do make all of their underwear. I prefer not to make my bras just because I can find really nice ones that's my size and that fit me properly. But for example, my mom, she cannot find any that fits her properly and it doesn't hurt her, so she ends up making hers. Another thing that I like to make is my own panties. I know knickers is a bit controversial, but it is so much easier to just make it because, firstly, they're expensive. Secondly, I then know what the content of the fabric is. And thirdly, I have copied a pattern from a pair that loved, and that pattern fits me perfectly. And also, it's a very nice way of using up scraps. But then there is the other things that we don't think about, like camisoles and petticoats. Now, you get your half body petticoat with elastic in the waist, and I do not like those. My mom told the story of my granny pushing, as I told you before, we were triplets, and my mom was pushing the pram with the two of my sisters in, and I was in a separate pram, and my granny was pushing that pram, and her petticoat's elastic gave way, and she just let it fall down and she stepped out of it and pretended that she didn't know who that belonged to. And ever since I've heard that story, I have a perpetual fear of a petticoat's elastic going. So I prefer to wear slips. One thing, it looks better all over, just that extra little layer. Another thing, it's easier to wear and it doesn't give you extra lines. And a third point is because of that extra layer, your underwear underneath that layer also does not make so many lines on your clothes. So for a while, I have not had one because I didn't make any and I've never been able to find what I like in the shops. So this dress would be, as I walk, it would just come up and come up and go in between my legs, and it would be such a mission that I wouldn't wear it. So I sat down and I finally sewed some petticoats. I use a net mesh, and what I like about it, it is not, you can buy it at most fabric stores. It is light, it breathes, and it's not static. And if you find that it does get a bit static, you can just spray some anti-static spray on it. But what it does is it prevents my dress from going in between my legs when I walk or pulling up on my stockings, which this type of brush poly does actually really well. Climb up your stockings. So this one is just a plain one with a lip elastic for the straps and then just a V, and it really is comfortable. I've made a short one that goes above my knee, and then I've made a long one. But another thing that we sometimes forget is camisoles. So I wouldn't advise you to wear a camisole under a t-shirt, a tight-fitting t-shirt, but it is really nice if you have a flowy short top or just a normal top. If you have a camisole underneath that, often those tops just fit so much nicer. Now, I know heat is sometimes a problem, especially if you're over 50. I know that there are days when you just want to take all your clothes off and go and lie on the cold tiles in the kitchen, which is maybe not an option if you're sharing a house with people, but it has gone through my mind in the past. So, a fabric that really is amazing on your skin is silk. If you can get hold of Silk Charmeuse, then you are made for life. Now, at this stage, my Silk Charmeuse dreams are still just dreams because it is pricey. But the type of things that you make will most likely last you a lot of wears and for many years. And for that reason, it's worth investing. But for now, with my budget, I will make stretch mesh petticoats and camisoles. When I work with stretch mesh, then I like to cut the selvage off. As you can see, it pulls it up. And then when you cut out your pattern pieces, you might end up with something that's skewed. So I'm going to go ahead and cut both of those off. V-stops, and I cut it a little bit bigger, about this much bigger, because it's stretch mesh, so it will stretch. Then I fold it double, and I put it down on my fabric, and I literally, this one I have one of those built-in bras, so I cut it in line with that built-in bra to the point, and then I start going out, because you want enough movement over your hips. And then for the back, I give it a seam down the back, and instead of cutting it straight, I cut it and then I go wider, and that gives you space for your bottom. I bought 2 meters and I have enough for 2 petticoats. So I've got a short one, and the short one will go just above my knee, and then I've got a longer one that goes to about there. My first step is to pin the backs together, and I'm going to just overlock them. And then I have the 2 fronts, and I will quickly sew the lip elastic on the front part. I will start like that. This is the wrong side of the petticoat, and the lip elastic will be sewn and then fold over and sewn down on the other side. I use a 1/6 or 1/8 ration from elastic to the fabric. It depends on how much the fabric stretch. This is a 1/6. So you measure where you want your elastic to go, and then you divide it by 6 and you take 1 of that away. And that usually gives you a nice pull in with the elastic. They're all pinned in place, and as you can see, it just pulls in a little bit, but that's more than enough for this to work. Then when I start sewing, I pull it and I just sew with straight stitch, and my stitch length will be on free. To make the V, I do a little triangle, and then I'm going to cut it out and fold it over. This is how it looks like, and that's the wrong side. Good morning. It's early. I think it is just before 6 a.m. and I woke up my normal time, but I need to finish the petticoats. I know I've been talking about them forever and a day, but this cloudy day and the start of February 2024 is the day when I'm going to finish these, because I need them in my wardrobe. There's a lot of things I haven't been wearing because I don't have a petticoat for them. And I don't need the petticoat because it's see-through. I need it because the winter clothes, I never knew it in South Africa, but over here, everything is static. Even if you wash it with anti-static things and put it in your tumble dryer with anti-static things. So I find if I have a petticoat under a dress, then it doesn't climb up on my stockings. So this is why I need to finish these. So I have changed the cotton, and one of them, I think, yep, this one, I actually only have to do that part, and then this one is finished. This is the long, no, this is the short one. This is the one I want for today. So I'm going to quickly do that, and then I can wear it for church today. That's done now. I've gone right around, done the V, done the straps, and then you just bring the straps to the back and you just zigzag them down, and then you have a petticoat. And then for the hem, I think I'm just going to fold it over and stitch it down, and then I'm done. I've pinned it in place, and now we're just going to zigzag it on the edge and then another zigzag over there. And reverse, and then I'm going to straight stitch and just sew up to this corner, turn my work, reverse, and then put it back on zigzag. Back on straight and reverse. And then just cut this. That is the strap. And it looks like that, and that strap's not going to go anywhere. It's secure. So this fabric, if you iron it, you can iron it on low, but if you iron it on anything that is higher than basically silk, you will burn it into a crisp. It will literally melt onto your iron. So I have this. It's a silicone iron sleeve. You get them on Amazon. I think sometimes at shops that sells irons, but in South Africa I was able to find it like at Pick n Pay and those places. But over here I haven't found a place that sells it. So your best bet is Amazon. So put your sleeve on, because that's just going to make your work so much easier. I put my iron on high, and I like to use a bit of steam when I do this. And then I can iron this, and then it's done. And I like to iron the petticoats just so that all the stitching goes flat, and anywhere where it's like pulling water in there. And let's get going. There it is, and that's the back. So for the hem, I just folded it over once, and I sewed it with straight stitches, and I pulled it a little bit while I was going. And everything else was done with straight stitching, and I just used the zigzag over there. In conclusion, I would love to make all my petticoats and camisoles out of Silk Charmeuse, but my budget does not allow it at the moment. So for that reason, I am really happy with this polyester knit fab mesh. It gives me that same feel. It is not too hot in summer, and it does add that extra layer that makes my clothes look better. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.